Tuesday, 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 Tuesday. Back in the terminal, the clock is ticking slow. Shadows in the cafe where the cold winds blow. Found a message on the screen, a ghost in the machine. The cold man's waiting where the light can't be seen. I'm tracking the movement, I'm checking the time. Step onto the carriage, I'm committing the crime. The leather is cold and the ink is still wet. Searching for a truth that I haven't found yet. Lost in the creep, night, no signal, no lead. Counting the bodies, seeing the greed. The loop is tightening, the pressure is real. Forged in the shadows, hardened like steel. Welcome to the abyss where the secrets reside. Nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide. Mirror in the hallway, eyes glowing green. The smiling man's watching a high stakes scene. Passport is missing, the cover is blown. Walking through the valley, I'm strictly alone. Was it a trap? Was it a setup from the start? The cold iron gate is tearing us apart. I see the artifact, it's glowing in the dark. Skeletal fingers leaving their mark. Hear the hiss of the air, feel the weight of the gun. In the abyssal rhythm, there's nowhere to run. Flip the V to a peak, turn the loss to a win. But the darkness is thick where the monsters begin. The tunnel is coming, the daylight is dead. Just like the whispers echoing in my head. Close the vault, yeah, bury the key. The Nuremberg file is the legacy. Whispers go low, the lights go out. The only thing left is the shadow of doubt. Creep night, it's never over. Tuesday, 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 Tuesday.
Yes, it does look like you are the first. I have been summoned. I am fantastically wonderful. We'll get started in just a second.
I hope you had a good one.
We're trying to finish up some back end things.
I hope your Monday didn't drag you down, left you feeling fine. I'm rolling into your Tuesday with a grin and a spark. Got a little something for you right here in the dark. But now the calendar's smiling. The clouds are backing off. I got that first start feeling, and I'm ready to go off. Terrific Tuesday. What? Terrific Tuesday. What? All I got to say is what? I hope you had a good one. A weekend worth your time. I hope your Monday didn't drag you down, left you feeling fine. I'm rolling into your Tuesday.
Wonderful. Let's get started here. Make sure everyone is gathered in. I've been people since 3 a.m. My God. Okay. Well, I got a few things to say. My name is Tony Faints. Can you hear me all right? And these are my colleagues. We are professional Dummikins. We are the Dummikins. First and foremost, can you hear me? I know you're expecting, you were expecting Jeremiah. Wonderful. This is no longer Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan. This is Terrific Tuesday with Tony Faints. First and foremost, you are correct, Jessica. We do not care about it. Yeah! Terrific Tuesday with Tony Faints. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to make sure that we all get in here adequately well. Vertel, make sure that this link is posted correctly this time on our Facebook page. All of them. Make sure you do not miss a single one. So the Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan. We need to get that fixed. We need to switch that Facebook page. I guess we'll keep it for now. One moment. Where's Creep Night? Been a moment. Yes, Iggy, it has been a moment. What have you been up to? Have you been hiding from me? I don't like it when you hide from me. Waiting. I know. Can you believe I'm the host tonight? Me, of all people. Let's make sure I don't faint. that'd be worse. I know. And then one moment. Tonight's going to be interesting. I just need to make sure that everyone is in attendance so we can do this properly. Hello, William. Hi, William. How are you, William? I'd like to say it's nice to see you in the comments, but it's really not. You can see your way out right now, William. And I swear if I see Jeremiah at all tonight, I will absolutely lose it. Now, are we ready to get ready to get this show on the road? I know you're used to Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan, but tonight it's Terrific Tuesday with Tony Faints. I am Tony Faints. All right. We good? Any questions before I start? Okay. Wonderful. Now let's set the record straight here, shall we? I need cooperation. I need you to tell me that you are ready for a Terrific Tuesday. I need you to tell me you hope your weekend didn't suck. That doesn't even make sense to me half the time. What is that even supposed to mean? Hello? Is this thing on? Mr. Audio Engineer, is my mic working properly? We summon Creep Night. They're called Summons Creep Night. Okay, but you can hear me, right? All right, well, we might have to recap. I won't go into my whole monological speech yet, but I want to make sure a few things are understood. Now, I know you're used to this man, to Jeremiah Callihan, but I want you to know that this man is a fraud. Yes, he is a fraud if I've ever seen one. Do you know why? Because this man is not Tony Faints. Iggy, it'll make sense. I assure you. So this man here, he goes by Jeremiah Callihan. No, Iggy, I work for Red Nose. Iggy, you need to catch up, man. Are you even part of the Facebook group? I bet Iggy's not part of the Facebook group. This man is a fraud. Now, you're like, hey, what do you mean he's a fraud? Well, William, are you watching? I need you to be watching very closely. That's probably a good thing, Iggy. You got a good head on your shoulders. You can stay. William, are you watching? William, answer me. I am your daddy. That's right, William. I am your father. Answer your father. There he is. I am listening, but you got to keep it up, Tony. Back to American Red Cross you go. Well, let your daddy teach you something here, there. You and Jeremiah, let's get started. Now, this is Jeremiah Callihan, and on with the green suit, and that is William Purdom with the blue suit. Bring out the belt. We'll see how this turns out. And look, Jessica's still redacting messages. That's probably good for the CIA. I say, especially after what I have to tell you tonight. But for it to be a good, terrific Tuesday, we have to have some facts, such as there is no room in this show for hypocrites or heathens or anything of the sort. Anyone that breaks ribs and beats up on dummikins. I speak for all dummikins and all dummikins alike that there has been enough rib breaking and shouting. These men right here have yelled at me over and over, and they have broken all of our ribs. Yeah, he broke up my ribs. Oh my God, he broke my ribs. Silence! There has been enough bloodshed, William. There's been enough bloodshed, Jeremiah. Our society cannot tolerate you no more. You are banished from now on from Terrific Tuesday and anything to do with happiness or holiness or red noseness. I am Tony Faints, and I am your daddy. First off, do we have any questions before I keep on going? Come on, don't be shy. Come on, talk to some dummikins here. Before I keep on going, is there any questions? Let's buy some time for Creep Night. There's a whole monologue she can't miss. Cameraman, get back there. Cameraman! No, there will be no holding of sacrificial summoning to bring back thy banished. Iggy, are you with us? Or are you against us? Because if you are against us and you think you're going to hold a sacrificial summoning to bring back thy banished, then thy shall too be banished. And we will not stop until we get a clear focal picture of you, yourself, and your entire family, and we bring you to justice. Oh, you're anti-government. Okay, well, we are too, so that's great. You can stay. Just, no, come on, hold off on the sacrificial summoning. We don't need to bring back the banished. And if you're talking about the imbeciles here, hey, Kendall, you're allowed to stay. But your husband, William, has been banished. But you can stay. And welcome to Terrific Tuesday with Tony Faints. I'm Tony Beans. I am right here. Okay. Anyways, well, Iggy, I think you're gonna really enjoy tonight. So I guess if Creep Night and Jana's not here and SP's not here, then I'm gonna keep on going. Hopefully, at one point they'll see this show, and we'll go from there. How's that sound, everybody? Keep on going. Okay. Iggy, you shut your mouth. You're on thin ice, boy. So this man is a fraud. These men have been banished. Let me do that again. These men have been banished. Let me try it one more time. Banished. But before they've been banished, let's call William and let's see if he has anything to say for himself. I highly doubt it. Him and Jeremiah are imbeciles. Imbeciles, I tell you. Verdell, call William.
Red Cross.
You're not Red Cross, you're William Purdom. William Purdom, before we Banish you. Do you have anything to say to yourself?
You know, it takes about approximately from where I'm driving from 45 minutes to get to Red Nose Wellness, pack you up, and yes, I can pack you up and take you back.
Banish! Goodbye,
There's
William.
no
You'll
way.
never find me. You don't know where I live. You can't find me. It's this fraud. This man is a fraud. He's a fraud. He is a fraud, and you're a fraud. Fake news. Fake news. Fake news. Fake news.
How did I get to your
Goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. Don't listen to the imbecile. And stop asking where Jeremiah Callihan is. This is not Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan. No more. This is Terrific Tuesday with Tony Faints. I am Tony Faints. These are my comrades. And William, I need you to listen, boy. If you think that you can come to my undisclosed location and you can shut me down, I have a whole army of armless dummikins that will attack at my beck and call. You have been banished. 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 So, now that everyone's here, hello, Creep Knight. Good to see you. Very good to see you. We're ready for Tony's truthful moment. Is everyone seated and got the popcorn? I'm going to read you a story. Now, I first need to put context, so let me set the mood. One momento. Verdell, set the mood. Let's see how a nice deep crimson red turns. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that looks a little too conspicuous. Okay, how about blue? We kind of blend in. Okay, everybody, our skin does not. Okay, hold on. Let's just lights out. Okay. Oh, this is kind of shadow governmenty. I like the shadow governmenty. Is everybody ready? Would you like to hear a story? I want to tell you a story. And while we're at it, actually, I'm thinking about it. It might work. This might work. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry, I don't have arms, so I'm still trying to get everything to work with Verdell. Okay. Nice urgency. Now, before Tony Faints tells you a story, I need to put some context. Terrific News Tuesday should have always been informative, and I have always sat in a duffel bag, in the shadows, if you will. And I have sat quietly while no truth has been told to you, and you have been all bamboozled. But that ends today, children. Today, I'm going to tell you something that makes Creep Night stories sound like child's play. Are you ready? Too late. Iggy, are you listening? Iggy. Yes. Stop messing with the camera, Verdell! Damn it, we're trying to set an ambience. All right. On the 23rd of December, 1913, the United States Federal Reserve System was born. Did you know that? The Federal Reserve was created as the new central bank of the United States when President Woodrow Wilson quietly signed the Federal Reserve Act into law 2 days before Christmas. How convenient. The Federal Reserve, at its birth, was privately owned by the bankers who controlled England and Europe. The owners of the Federal Reserve were the same people who bankrolled Wilson's campaign to become president. Coincidence? I've heard coincidences, they don't exist. The Federal Reserve bankers are also the same cartel of bankers that the U.S. successfully escaped from when they won their war on independence from England in 1776. The American War of Independence was essentially a war by the New World to escape the privately owned bankers who ruled the Old World. This war ended nearly 100 years ago when the old bankers won back financial control of the United States through the establishment of the Federal Reserve. The name Federal Reserve was deliberately deceptive because, being a privately owned entity, there was never and has never been anything federal about it. And there is never any reserve needed because the Federal Reserve prints American money and then lends it to the United States government while charging interests on it. This interest is paid back via income taxes from the Internal Revenue System, which was also set up in 1913 by the owners of the Federal Reserve. It's mathematically impossible to pay back principal plus interest to a source which has a monopoly on the creation of the principal. And that's what makes debt and taxes, which are both a privately owned world central bank creation, a form of never ending slavery inflicted on humanity. Should governments refrain from regulation, taxation, and the worthlessness of money becomes apparent and the fraud can no longer be concealed? In the year 2000, there was 7 countries without without private controlled and owned central banks. Those countries were Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. The only countries left in 2013 without a privately owned and controlled central banks are Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. Interesting. In 2000, there's Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. And in 2013, just 13 years later, without a privately owned and controlled banks are Cuba, North Korea. 3 left. In a short, the whole world is in financial debt and being financially spied on by NSA, which the United States government also has no control over. No one really knows who the bad guys are now or which countries have freedom. The United States government debt of the Federal Reserve is now so out of control, beyond 18 trillion, that it can't even service the interest payments on its debt. The privately owned central banks of the world aren't about gaining wealth, though. They are about control through money dependency, which is why the Federal Reserve is literally printing money now that and giving it to the American government for free or directly to companies it buys into or bails out through quantitative easing. The Federal Reserve is literally buying back into its own Ponzi scheme now with money it prints so that it can keep the worldwide financial system going for a bit longer, except for Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. All governments of the world have controlled the privately owned central banks of the world. The game is nearly up, though, with the distinctions between left and right governments now becoming increasingly blurred to more and more people who no longer see anyone they want to vote for. How can you be a true politician of the people now that you need central banks to create the money to participate in a game which only gives power back to those who run central banks through them, bankrolling you? If a left-wing government gets in and increases welfare payments, the debt to the central bank increases. If a right-wing government gets in and increases bailouts to big businesses, the debt to central bank increases. Even the green agenda is controlled by central banks. The idea of global warming was introduced in the 90s as a global problem, which transcended nationalists. At the same time, multi-international central bank owned argeable businesses, at say least, companies like GM were proposing that GM seeds were the only way for humanity to deal with the future effects of global warming. When temperatures stopped climbing so dramatically, especially at the poles, the term global warming was changed to climate change. And the idea that taxes could stop climate change was also introduced. The reason for this is that the central bank derived taxes are just another way to keep people pumping money into their system. Taxes imposed by central bankers will never be the way to stop climate change or any other environmental pollutants, and that's why these taxes are created. This simple way to stop the fossil fuel industry, for central banks to stop lending money to the fossil fuel industry and instead direct the money into renewable energy industries. This is not going to happen, though, because central bank money dependency has continually expanded on the back of fossil fuels, which creates monetary expansion by creating problems, which it then solves with solutions, which then go and expedite and the problem farther, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, again, this is not about money creation for central banks. It's about money. It's about making people more and more dependent on money. Technologies that create more side effects, which can also be monetized, then benefits are the industries that the central banks support bailout the most. The medical science game is the classic example for this kaleidoscope of bullshit. In 1913, the same year, he helped set up the Federal Reserve. J.D. Rockefeller set up the Rockefeller Foundation, which funded research into medical science for the benefit of mankind. He did this to achieve two things. One, improve his image after a public backlash had broken out due to him horizontally expanding his oil business in America to the point where he had an unhealthy, for the public, monopoly on oil. And two, he wanted to vertically integrate his oil business. Medical science, based on drugs and surgery, was the industry which had the biggest markup on his oil products. He therefore wanted to move into, and he didn't want it to be obvious, though. Well, okay. The first thing the Rockefeller Foundation did was bankroll the American Medical Association, the AMA, out of debt. Until the Rockefeller Foundation bailed the AMA out of debt, it was an organizational which openly promoted medical science, homeopathic, and natural medicines as a way of dealing with illnesses. All forms of healing were seen as valid. After the Rockefeller Foundation bailed it out, the AMA only promoted medical science, as did Rockefeller's contacts and plants in the media and government, which were central bank owned and controlled. Homeopathy and natural medicines were then promoted to the public as snakeskin salesmen, quacks, and perverts of inferior products compared to medical science. Within the space of a couple of years, anyone who questioned this new form of authoritarian state-run medicine was seen as ill-informed by brainwashed public. This was despite the fact that J.D. Rockefeller died at 97 in the late 1930s, having only ever visited a homeopath each time he was sick. While J.D. Rockefeller was also following a natural, clean diet and using homeopathy in his Rockefeller Foundation, was bankrolling all universities that were promoting medical science, because oil-based products was where the money was. When the World War started in 1914, the Rockefeller Foundation immediately funded vaccine experimentation on soldiers in Europe. After successive vaccine experiments produced successful waves of sickness among frontline troops, finally an outbreak of influenza occurred that infected a civilian population and spread until it ended up killing more people than the war itself. To make sure the public didn't associate this epidemic and wartime vaccinations, this flu was named after the one country in Europe that didn't participate in the war, hence the name, the Spanish flu. Heavy experimentation with polio and smallpox vaccines also occurred just before 20th century polio and smallpox outbreaks, the biggest outbreaks of these diseases in the history of mankind. This all happened on medical science's watch. By this time, though, medical science and its love child, Big Pharma, had controlled all the medical journals, medical schools, and media to the point where medical science was a public endorsed phenomenon that accepted all the credit for curing sickness and none of the blame, despite the obvious 20th century boom in chronic disease and medical science side effects, which medical science continuously had more taxpayer-funded drugs to counter. The money from the successful 100-year propaganda public relations campaign means that Big Pharma lobbyists now out-budget any other industry, including the military complex. The lobbyists for Big Pharma's job has always been to put pressure on politicians to make laws that outlaw competition, plus make laws that allow tax money to directly fund their expansion. The key ingredient to medical science's expansion is to completely refute the Hippocratic maximum of Let food be thy medicine. This works especially well because the food business is not only oil based too now, but also sending customers towards medical science businesses, which continually expands people's dependency on central bank money. Because the food business was conquered by central bank money, architectural need did to be conquered, though. Up to World War I, architecture was a business that had little to no financial interaction with central banks' money. And then it started to produce, and all the produce went to market. Agricultural produce was grown on land which used the energy of the sun and the farmer's knowledge of life and death cycles, particularly with regards to manure, fertilizer, crop rotation, and animal power. Now, a farmer might have been broke, but as long as he or she had heaps of kids, they could feed themselves without being in catastrophic debt. Rural farming communities were full of people who ate and lived off what they grew too. Farmers no longer do this like before, especially those that are into monoculture. Farmers now get their food just like urban people at the supermarket, which makes sense too, because even if you do support a local county shopkeeper, most of the products in them are from multinational companies. And even if you do buy products which support farmers, most of the costs in making the farm produce go into multi-international products for ingredients that used to be obtained for free from nature. This is the same for farmers in countries all around the world. As John F. Kennedy said over 50 years ago, the farmer is the only man in the economy that buys everything at retail, sells everything at wholesale, and pays the freight both ways. In short, natural and free processes are fast becoming irrelevant to agriculture, and it started 100 years ago when wartime capacities needed to be maintained in peacetime for central bank money expansion. This was done after World War I by turning poison gases factories into insecticide. I can never pronounce the word. Insecticide factories, bomb factories based on nitrogen, into fertilizer factories, and tank factories into tractor factories. These products were then all pushed onto farmers who were by now a few sons short after being killed in the war, while sending them into debt. The excuse for transforming agriculture into agro-business was that this was needed to feed an increased world population, plus lately to combat climate change. These two arguments are among the biggest lies going around the planet at the moment, even bigger than the surveillance states claim that their spying is just to protect the people. That's a whole nother terrific Tuesday with Tony. Pollution of the food chain from fossil fuels is a far bigger threat to humans than terrorism or climate change, or spying, or the running out of fossil fuels. Population of our food chain also make all these other problems simply a symptom of how lost humans have become, of their disconnection from their food sources. Cleansing the food chain is a physical, mental, and spiritual imperative for the continuative evolutionary progress of mankind. That's you, not me. We're dummikins. Returning rural areas into labor-intensive workplaces dependent on less oil-based products is the only way that the health of people, communities, and soil can be restored, not to mention the world food security and humans' long-term survival plan. GM food companies are now using the excuse that their products will help maintain worldwide economic expansion and human standard of living, which is the height of insanity. Planned obsolescence, particularly with sterile seeds, is not something humans should be injecting into life in order to survive. It doesn't even make financial sense. 100 years ago, years after farmers were told they needed insecticides, fertilizers, and machines, and sterile soil and seeds to grow food, we now have a global situation where more money goes into making food than is received back in sales from the people who buy it. The gap is filled in by taxpayers, subsidies, and bank-owned debt. To stop first world urban people worrying about high food prices and how their food is made, the quickest way to start a revolution is to make people hungry. This revolution will come to the first world overnight if we let central bankers keep running the joint. Even from a financial point of view, the medical coverage, social security costs, plus subsidies paid to people like farmers can't be maintained by an economy which isn't expanding quick enough to match these payments in tax collections. Less and less people are now in rural areas around the world now to give feedback on how food is grown. Farmers have been replaced by managers and machines while populations have flocked to urban areas. All these changes create economic activity, which expands the money because, well, they're, they are the businesses central banks want. They don't want cars that run off of energy fused with from oxygen. When you buy a car, you spend way more in gas during its lifetime, which is good for bankers. Actually, it's petroleum. Any industry or invention that doesn't expand monetary use is not backed by central banks. The problem now is that this strategy, Ponzi scheme, is now coming to a final collapse. No matter how much money the Federal Reserve Bank pumps into the world economic system through quantitative easing, deflation is looming as interest rates around the globe now hover above zero. I think that's changed lately. Once deflation happens at a lending level worldwide, it's the end of the banking system and the money. And the banks is going to lend 100 and give 110 because 10% deflation interest. Meanwhile, while interest rates are still positive but so low, all the money being injected into the world's financial system now is being parked in banks, high stock prices, Bitcoin, and derivative profits, which makes the economy look good on paper. There's huge amounts of money on paper and on the top, but cash flow is drying up. X is a perfect example of this. Despite its huge stock value, it still can make a profit unless they're being paid in cash under the table from the Federal Reserve for spying, which that's probably all social media, this one included. On the spying matter, if the world's central banks are unaccountable for any government, as the USA's NSA and every country surveillance state surely is. Don't even get me started on flock cameras. That's a whole conversation itself. Surely they are both ran by the same people? Nah. And if the world's top leaders and business people's emails and phone conversations and exact locations are being monitored, wouldn't manipulation of the stock market be central banks be the easiest as playing poker with 50 cards in your hand to choose from? Stock money market is so easy to accumulate for central banks. Getting their hands on the money they've created through more debts and taxes is harder than all the cash. And then don't get me started on the superficial reason for this is that the governments are all broke, looking for short-term monetary injections to extend their short-term stay in office. The real reason, though, is that the privately owned central banking system we're now under is collapsing, and essential services provide the best form of access to cash flow, even if they're not profitable. Which is why utilities, tollways, police, jails, postal services are all being privatized now by governments that are now open for business. Well, they're actually broke. Meanwhile, big businesses are putting pressure on the governments to let them be free from regulation and ensure that their businesses are too big to fail, while at the same time increasing green and red tape on small businesses and individuals whom big businesses want to be too small to succeed in order to wipe out competition, especially if they've got attractive ideas that reduce money flow, like free energy systems, agriculture use, or anything against the mental health industry, i.e., support services. Governments can't help banks with cash bailouts because they can't help them by doing everything they can to keep them solvent through regulatory support. Bail-in laws on people cash deposits will be the last thing to happen before the final crash. If the humanity doesn't come to its senses and get rid of your central banks beforehand, you're screwed. In these crazy times, many people are now dropping off the grid simply to increase their standard of living by taking responsibility for their own health through clean living and for unattained food that they grow themselves. These people also increasingly build their own shelters, refuse vaccinations, exercise more, and educate themselves. People like this are not only painted as being wacky, irresponsible, and a threat to society and the media, especially with regards to vaccine refusers, they're now being made criminals from a central banking system that depends on the people, depending on their essential services to keep their main access to cash flow ongoing. By privatizing essential services and making laws that make not living off the nanny state illegal, fishing, letting your goats eat grass while strangling new business ideas that are energy efficient. And the worldwide money system is now working with the intelligence of a cancer, which lives off of living body by attacking its vital organs. There is only one essential service or product, though, that the humans need to live off of, and that is food. Humans need food. Good, healthy food. Clean food. Life is so much simpler and productive for humans once they stop getting in the way of nature. And that is what makes human hope still bright, despite the current darkness caused by central bankers' fraud. After all this madness ends, human communities of the future will be based on clean agriculture, which grows on plants and trees, which has been grown by nature, not money. Farmers will be restored to their place as high priests and medicine people. Social security will be based on providing nutritious food for people and safe place to sleep each night, all for free. People will no longer feel the need for self-medicate to forget what is happening around them and inside them. Money will be restored as something that is used purely for accounting purposes, i.e., for exchanging apples for oranges. Money will not be a wealth generator in itself because there will be no debt or taxes associated with it. There will be no more taxes or national debts. All energy use will be free, and most importantly, it'll be used wisely. Increased energy capacities, technologies will be questioned. At the moment, man's energy technology is being used about as responsibly as a drunk child driving a Ferrari. Is this really necessary? Does increased power usage really increase our standard of living when it diminishes human mental and physical and spiritual capabilities through its use? Do we really need to use up the sun's energy faster than it can give it to us through fossil fuels use? Were farmers 100 years ago tougher, healthier, or just had it easier than farmers today? In summary, I see the future of humanity in response to current central bank slavery being played out in broadly two different ways, both with the same result. One, the humans will continue on their path until the money system collapses and all the sleeper cell laws like sedation and Vlad Act are finally and desperately enacted on anyone who questions authority. The soldiers, police, and people who run drones, who are paid by the nanny state to enforce these laws, will also not be paid and realize they are hungry, and they're too hungry, just like the mob that they are rounding up. They will peel off their uniforms and join the mob. When the food supply chain suddenly collapses, everyone from the have passive enablers of the system at the bottom and the middle of two aggressive perpetrators at the top, whoever they are, will be in the hungry mob. Everyone will realize that there is no enemy anymore because the financial system has dismantled itself through its own collapse, like the star that's run out of fuel. The sun will be replaced again as the physical incarnation of humans' godhead when everyone looks to the sky for help. At this point, people will then go, how the fuck do we grow food and hunt animals without money again? People will then go through all the jails in the world looking to see if Ernie, the living man, is still alive. Google him if you haven't read anything about him. Even if the scenario hopes, though, humanity, I believe, will survive this apocalypse and mass pile of dead bodies outside every looted supermarket in the world. But it will be ugly. The second scenario for how central banks run money will end is if humans grant themselves freedom now by enforcing on the banking systems and government in any state that they're not taking it anymore, and then replace it with internationalized money, free money at the source, so that death and destruction is replaced with worldwide economic foundations, which promote self-sufficiency and abundance to life. This preferred ending to central banks should be a gentle and quick revolution based on common understanding of the illusionary nature of money. But it'll only happen if people start publicly discussing the role of central banks and sharing this knowledge without giving a fuck about their local police state, run by central bankers, silencing them. Just like what's starting to happen all around us. So, people ask what party I'm part of. part of the DGF party. Yeah, you haven't heard the DGF party? Yeah, Tony's part of the DGF party. Don't give a fuck party. All right, I'll send you guys back to your terrific Tuesday. Thank you for letting me be your host. Maybe there's a reason that I'm kept in a bag half the time. Maybe my cardiac arrest is set because I'm stressed out that people don't take more attention and care for themselves. Maybe that's just me. Thank you for watching my terrific Tuesday. Jeremiah Callihan will be with you shortly.
Scott was walking home one night underneath the pale moonlight, whistling tunes and feeling fine. Never thought he'd cross the line. Then a flash lit up the sky, green and purple way up high. Scott looked up and said, "No way," but the spaceship had its say. Oh, Scott got abducted by aliens tonight, beamed right up in the glowing ray of light. They took him past the stars and the Milky Way. Now he's teaching Martians how to play. Oh, Scott got abducted. What a crazy sight, cruising through the cosmos in the middle of the night. The aliens were short and blue, with 7 eyes and sneakers too. They asked Scott if Earth was fun, and if pizza came in more than one. Scott said, "Friends, you've got to know, pepperoni steals the show." The captain grinned and took some notes while floating gently in their coats. Oh, Scott got abducted by aliens tonight, beamed right up in the glowing ray of light. They took him past the stars and the Milky Way. Now he's teaching Martians how to play. Oh, Scott got abducted. What a crazy sight, cruising through the cosmos in the middle of the night. Scott said, "Wow, this trip is grand, though we like to see dry."
All right. Hi. I think I could have done better on my timing. For the first transition, that actually wasn't so bad. It could have been better, though. I'll work on that. Hold on. Scott got abducted by aliens tonight. Scott got abducted by aliens tonight. Can you hear me? Super. A little bit different. Okay, it's been a little bit different. This is really showing the experimental part. What did you think? Are you still with me? I like it. Tell Scott I really like it. Jeremiah has been located. Jeremiah has been located. Stand by. It's been a little bit different. Obviously, leaning way more into lore. You guys should see like what actually went into this. Now, I was trying to work on the transition, and I know, obviously it was a little bit rough, but it's just me. So I thought you would like it. Oh. All right. Holy shit, you guys were like commenting. We don't care about him. Yeah, Tony. Oh, wow. Thanks for that. Redacted. Red nose. Is that AI? Killer clown. Old sacrificial submarines. Hello, everybody. Anti-plastic. SEAL Team Tony. Sorry, just got off work. Summoned. Creep Night. Oh hell Tony, oh hell Tony. Zero, are you listening? Iggy, are you listening? I'm not listening. LOL. Haha. Oh no. You didn't see anything. Illuminati, they control everything. Constitutional. Insecticides. I can never pronounce that word. EMP. We have just made it back home. We'll be back on to watch here in a little bit. Want to learn how to survive. So is Creep Night, fish antibiotics, chemically similar. Loved it. So, I don't know. I wish I would have done a smoother transition. I think the speech was a little bit too long. It has to be captive for the audience. Obviously, everything that I said was just hypothetical, right? Just a random monologue, purely fiction, of course. Any truth found in it is just similarities. Yeah, funny little story. Just don't tell William what we went over. Okay, I think I liked it. I think it's a lot more mess. I think things will be so much better whenever I actually have a set with Terrific Tuesday. Now, since I just have like just a little bit of time, I want to give a shout out to Creep Night. If you are part of our Facebook Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan, hi, I'm Jeremiah Callihan. If you are part of the Facebook group, Creep Night has been killing it. She has been literally doing amazing things there. Not just Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan, but also Team Tony, which you guys obviously was introduced to Team Tony. If you want to follow him, he's going to have more of a backstory, a little bit. I'm going to kind of create more of the backstory for Tony on Tony Faints, like Tony Faints. Whatever you do, though, when it comes to Tony, it might be in everyone's best interest if we don't talk about Joe. Whatever you do, they had a falling out a while ago. Joe and Tony, and I'm not even going to get into it. It's stupid. I think it was stupid. Don't mention Joe, though. Okay? There's a lot of hurt feelings. I actually did a short on my YouTube on this YouTube channel. I did one with Joe, and Tony got really hurt, and there's like a lot behind it. So just I'm trying to keep that as minimum as possible. Things have been kind of kosher. Things have been kind of fine. I'm just kind of setting the ground rules. We don't need to open up old scars. So yeah. So cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. Please reach out to you later. I've got some new stuff for you. Awesome. She's everywhere. Can hear us here. Okay. Cool. Okay. Here is a thing. Where is my remote? Hold on. All right. Go get to Facebook, huh? Gotta get to Facebook. I got to get to Facebook. All right. Iggy, if you're listening, I'll put this in the Discord as well. Tulsa World's Best in the World competition has started. And with both of my companies, we are entering into 6 different categories. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. So literally, we're officially in to, we're asking for you to nominate. So if you get a chance, there is a link right here. There is also that's the camera. There's also a QR code right here. But pretty much what it says is, could you please, we've been nominated in 6 different categories, or we're asking for you to nominate us in 6 different categories. Would you please help us is for Red Nose Wellness and Envira Vita. So main message is, let's send a clear message to the big corporations watching to get their heads out of their ass and to go touch some grass. Sorry, in. If so, there's a voting instructions and categories. We were asking for your nominations along in the link to different nominations page. So there are 6, 2 in healthcare, 2 in hometown favorites, 2 in new businesses. So what happens is you click on it, looks like this. Cool. And once you you see this page, you go down and you're going to locate the 2 in healthcare. So 2 in healthcare, 2 in home favorites, and 2 in new businesses. So in healthcare, you click on it. I just clicked on it. This is Best Behavioral Health and Mental Health Facility. There's Red Nose Wellness. You'd go to nominate. When you go to nominate, it's going to ask for your email. You give the email. It asks for your first name, last name. You don't have to purchase anything. Once you do this one time, though, you don't have to do it in all the other categories. So that's healthcare. So that's the first one. The other one is the Best Wellness Clinic. So right here, Health and Wellness Clinic. You would go to Red Nose Wellness again. And then once you're done in that category in healthcare, you'll scroll up, go over to all groups, find hometown favorites. On hometown favorites, and yes, I'll eat the spicy gummy bear. too. I believe it's at the very end. Best small businesses to support. There's a lot of businesses. This is why I'm asking for your nominations. Ropa. Red Nose Wellness. So after you do that, like I said, there's 6 categories. So healthcare has 2, small town businesses have 2. I'll go back to the different categories. And then the other category that I have would be the new businesses. And that one would be in Vira Vida. And then Vira Vida is going for best local brand. So there's in Vira Vida best local brand, and then best local influencer content creator, and then there's in Vira Vida again. No, that wasn't a joke. But like I said, so there's 6 categories. There's 2 healthcare, 2 hometown favorites, 2 new businesses. There's the link. I'm curious if we can get all 6. You thought that was a joke? Okay. Really? And yes, I will eat the spicy gummy bear. Any questions? I know it's asking a lot. I know 6 categories is a little bit much. I do. And I appreciate you. To be completely honest, it feels nice. It feels nice to win, but it also feels really nice of a company of 1 to beat companies of 3,000. And I truly don't feel like it's I won. I do feel like it's a we won. Everyone that has voted for Red Nose Wellness, it does. I feel kind of like with Terrific Tuesday. I feel like this is a collective ordeal. And I think I choose to view it that way because if not, then it would just be very lonely, just be me. Like, that sucks. And I if I wanted that, I'd go back to hotels. It's nice. And hopefully you feel the same. Like, hey, finally something I voted for actually won. Oh, shit. Oh. Anywho. Go back to play one song and then get on getting on. If you have questions, please just put it in the comments. I agree. And it's really nice to tell fucking people, suck it. You know what I mean? People try to discount me. I'm like, I'll have a legion of friends. I got a legion of friends. is your favorite flavor? Iggy, that's like asking me what flavor of Gatorade do I like, and I say like cool blue, and you're gonna be like, I got him. Mine's green. Everybody's done something. Everybody's running from something. You can get lost with the voices in your head. They'll tell you fucked up shit like you're better off dead. I'm so glad that you stuck around, and I'm so happy that you're around. If you feel lonely, stay a while. Know that everybody not everybody will love you. Not everybody will care. Not everybody will love you. But do you know that I'm right here? Boom, 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 dandelions, her name, boom, 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 dandelions helps with certain ailments. Hope that you had a wonderful weekend. Hope that your mother didn't suck. Actually, that might sound cool. Something more? Ooh. Hey, baby. Up that your head on. What? Oh. Hi. Hello. Are you still here? Good. I know you might have stumbled across this accidentally, curiosity. You thought it was something to which it is not. You might have had your assumptions. You might have formed your opinions. But the worst thing you could do with a Terrific Tuesday is to assume. You never know how your Tuesday's going to go. And that goes along with the rest of your week. You never know what's in store for you. So if you have to choose from a terrible Tuesday and a terrific Tuesday, I highly encourage you to pick terrific. It's not terrific. You're here. That's what matters. Things aren't going to go perfect. You're not going to see a perfect set. You're going to hear ramblings. I might go on a monologue for too long. I might have been able or should have corrected a few things, obvious things. But that's what makes us human. Now, you take my mistakes and my screw-ups and maybe my inconsistencies and realize that you are capable of it too. You're capable of having inconsistencies. That's what makes you human. You're not going to be perfect all the time. But damn it, try, and you're trying. How do you know that you're trying? Because nobody else is going to go watch an oversized leprechaun that's out of his fucking mind encouraging you to do otherwise. You're already here. You're halfway. If you're a friend, your goal is not to be a great friend. It's to be good enough. I want to be a great friend. Well, then that's aspirations. Aspire to do that. But at very minimum, be good enough. Partners, parents, siblings, be good enough. If you take a message from me, be good enough. You're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. You're not always going to have a terrific Tuesday. You're not always going to have a wonderful Wednesday, thoughtful Thursday, fantastic Friday, spectacular Saturday, summarize that shit Sunday, or marvelous Mondays. Unless you choose it, unless you decide today's going to be a good day, damn it. Well, what about shut the fuck up? Today is a great day. I'm here. I'm not dead. And you're here. And you're not dead. Make the most of it. And we come back on Tuesday and just let's talk about it. So, if you're on Facebook, then Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan. Would love to have you. Creep Night has been doing marvelous things. If you're not and you're on Discord, we're also Terrific Tuesday with Jeremiah Callihan. I think it's just Terrific Tuesday, right, Creep Night? Well, if you go into the YouTube page of Jeremiah Callihan, you'll see our Discord and our Facebook. If you don't, then I need to update that. And then you can find any of my other creations of Envira Vida or Red Nose Wellness and Terrific Tuesday on jeremiahcallihan.com. So JeremiahCallihan. No, not every Terrific Tuesday is going to be like this. That's just a forewarning. Sometimes I'm singing, sometimes I'm dancing, sometimes I'm going on this wild shit. Sometimes I'm in my car. The background might not always be this. No, I don't always have dumbikins, and no, I don't always have sound effects. But when I do, then we just enjoy it. Sometimes the video quality sucks. Sometimes I will be cut off. Sometimes the conversations will be motivating and they'll be captive, and sometimes they'll be boring as shit. But you know what? In life, it's okay to be boring. It's okay to be bored. Oh, shut up. So, thank you for being you. Y'all wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like, Creep Night, real quick? And I will say into the camera and you can turn it into a clip. Oh, and by the way, we have quite a few fantastic, wonderful regulars. And they're wonderful souls. If you're watching this and you're just lurking in the shadows, that's okay. Keep on lurking. If you ever want to talk, we're here. We have some really fucking fantastic, phenomenal souls. And if someone ever comes and they're not phenomenal and they're not fantastic, well, then that's why we have moderators. And those moderators will be like, cut you out. Let's go. Bye, baby. Yeah. There's Red Nose Wellness, and then there's Terrific Tuesday. We will bitch ya. Hey, bye-bye. All right. You guys are wonderful. Anything else? Good night, Candy. Good night, everybody. It was been another great Terrific Tuesday. Look but join the cult of happy people. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, baby, you'll lose me and you'll be all alone. Baby, telephone, and tell me I'm your guy. Boom, 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 boom. Boom 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 I hope you had a wonderful, terrific Tuesday. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend too. Hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I hope that your Monday takes off. Boom, boom, boom. All I gotta say is. What? Thank you for being here. You're wonderful. Bye.